Councillor Helverson,
Present.
Councillor Mikala-Raha,
Present.
Councillor Fountain,
Here.
Councillor Lance,
Here.
Councillor Vaki,
Here.
Mayor Champa, absent.
All right, we'll look to adopt the agenda. Looks like we had a addition for Travis under Police Chief Manor for number 3. Slide letter F for Councillor Vaki for the COVID plans that sled the city, and move Bill Manny down to G, myself down to H, and miscellaneous to I. If that looks good to everybody else, entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, Councillor Lance.
Support.
Motion by Councillor Fountain, second by Councillor Vaki. Margaret?
Councillor Helverson,
Aye.
Councillor Mikala-Raha,
Aye.
Councillor Fountain,
Aye.
Councillor Lance,
Aye.
Councillor Vaki,
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dean, you want Steve? All right. Eileen, are you in control to mute Steve? All right. Public participation. Eileen, do you know if we have anything? Bill?
President Lance, I'm not aware of any public participation.
Okay. Move on to council reports. Let's start off on the far side with Councillor Helverson. Thank you. Councillor Fountain.
No formal report.
Councillor Vaki.
Hello, everybody. Just a couple of things, I guess. We had our first interviews today for the Public Works, so we're finishing that up this week. Our school committee met last week. That went very well. Brian's got some stuff to go back and then revise a few things in the contract proposal that we have. So that's moving forward, which is a good thing. Sled to City is coming up February 27th, Polar Bear Days. Make sure you are as active as you would like to be for that. I'm so happy that we're having Polar Bear Days. People need opportunities to get out. And I'm excited for Sled to City. There's some good things that I'll talk about when we talk about the COVID plan. And then I also just got the flyer, which I don't know that it would show up if I put it on my phone for you guys. But anyway, I'll email that out to all of you guys as well. So look for that. That's it for me.
Thank you, Councillor Vaki. I agree. Sled to City. It's going to be great. Anybody else have anything for Councillor Vaki? Councillor Mikala-Raha.
Good evening. I don't have much. I attended a police commission meeting, which was interesting. I've only attended one prior, so it was kind of neat. It was an interesting thing to be a part of, and I'm excited to be on that. Other than that, I don't have much other than stay warm unless anybody has any questions for me.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none. So myself, fire department, we conducted 4 interviews on Monday. We are going to be coming back to the next council meeting with some names for hopefully to get your approval, and then to move on with the hiring process and the screening and background checks and physicals. So that's going to be exciting to add a few more new faces to the department. Something else the fire department just did recently was we took part in a 100th birthday drive-by for Bill Lusheen, a local veteran and almost a community hero. I don't know Bill, but over 10 decades, he has definitely padded his resume and he's done a lot for the city. So glad to take part in that, and happy birthday, Bill. Something else in the fire department, one of our members stumbled upon a Motorola radio grant. And if anybody knows how much the radios cost, it could be upwards of $180,000, $200,000. So we reached out to our EDA director, Ms. Scraba, and she's helping us kind of put together some verbiage and proposal for that. And hopefully that could amount to something and really save the community some money. So we, if there's any questions on that, staff or Jason can help out, and hopefully by our next council meeting, we'll have some more information for an action item to submit and approve. There are also some interesting things going on with the EDA that Steph will get into later, I hope. Planning and zoning, we met on the 1st, and we discussed the variance requests that you're going to see in your packet coming up. Earlier this month, we all met with the DDA. I was pleasantly surprised. I hope our staff was. I heard some good things, so I hope that moves forward nice and smoothly. And I would also like to express on behalf of myself, I'm sure the rest of the council, the sadness and disappointment in regards to the vandalism of the statue of President Roosevelt at the Roosevelt School. I know that means a lot to a lot of the citizens around here, people who grew up in this town, went to that school, live in those apartment buildings. People have a lot of pride, and it's a very beautiful statue. I'm not from here, but I can understand what that means to people. So I really hope that people can be more aware, and hopefully teach your kids, teach your friends, have your kids teach their friends what it means to be a little bit more responsible. You can't blame parenting all the time. You can't blame kids' actions all the time, but people do stupid things, and I hope it's something that they will learn to regret. And hopefully one day they'll be saddened by their decisions. Other than that, I have nothing else. We'll move on to, unless anybody has any questions for me. No? Okay. Ms. Galley, any reports tonight?
Good evening, Mayor and Council, or Acting Mayor and Council. I have no formal report other than the variance request that is on the agenda for Heritage Manor.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mandy? Oh. Okay. Economic Development Coordinator, Ms. Scraba, any report today?
Good evening, Council. Yes, I do have a short report. Just some activity that's been going on in the Economic Development Authority. I've been working with the county on a commercial building downtown Chisholm to do a collaboration. The county is going to put some investment into that commercial property for some repairs of the roof and other things to get that property stabilized, kind of as an alternative to demo. EDA is looking at partnering with the county on that building, hoping to get a tenant in and keep that building located in downtown Chisholm. The other thing I do want to report on is Gary Showquest, who is a mountain bike guru. Will be meeting with local businesses on the topic of what the Redhead Mountain Bike Park could mean for the businesses of Chisholm. He will have 2 different sessions. He will be meeting in person and via Zoom, depending on your preference. The first session will be Tuesday, February 16th, which will be a mountain bike 101. And then Tuesday, February 23rd, there'll be a mountain bike 201. He's also available then to meet with businesses one-on-one if they want him to come into their establishments and discuss what this increase in tourism could do for their business. So that's kind of what we've been working on with a lot of other things too, but if there's any questions.
Thank you, Steph. Very exciting. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, let's move on to Mr. Johnson, City Engineer.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. I have no report tonight. I've got a couple items on the agenda later, but I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Any questions? Oh, okay. Public Works Supervisor, Mr. Folstead. Good evening.
Evening, everybody. It's cold. It's very cold. That's the talk of the town. Equally so in Public Works. You don't see us out right away in the morning burning fuel to stay warm and breaking equipment when it's so cold because we're in the shop fixing our equipment and getting ready for spring. So we're doing everything from moving, reorganizing the shop, cleaning as we started our interviews this afternoon. Thank you for everyone, Councilor Vodke and Deputy Clerk Eileen Zah, and Larry Pervenanzi for the time and effort coming down to the shop and helping us there get going. So we're in the shop doing cleanup and doing equipment maintenance. You see us around in the afternoon, stuff like that, cleaning up here and there. And our new trucks showed up today that we built almost just over a year and a half ago now. It's a long wait to get the equipment built. And then with the COVID, there were several plant shutdowns and supply chain problems, but we got those. There's always a few fixes when you build them trucks. So we'll work through those with the vendors but you'll start to see them out the community. So I actually had envisioned when we ordered these trucks that I could have one or two outside City Hall and show you and walk around but it's just with the COVID, it's just with no council meetings, it's just so hard. So, and it's very cold. So I didn't want to really frankly do that tonight. So, so that's what we're doing in the shop in Public Works. We're ordering equipment and trying to get ready for spring along with this new employee, get them on board. For example, we ordered a new little zero turn for around the campground. I'm still have to spec a bucket truck and get that process going. We'll start that as soon as we get through this hiring. And then it's on to hiring that janitor that we talked about earlier in budget times. So, we have PUC meeting coming up with the results of the smoke testing that I'll be able to share with all of you, and that Hibbing TAC rate study, or the water rate study, which was triggered by the Hibbing TAC as a possible customer in the future. With that, I'm looking forward to Sled the City and those plans with Councilor Vodke and all of you. I haven't seen the COVID plan yet, and to what degree we'll be able to do. Probably the most fun and exciting for me is helping build the slide. So, but I'm looking forward to that as well.
Excellent. Anybody else have any questions for Larry?
Thank you.
Yeah, real quick, not a question, but a statement. All of you need to go down and see those trucks. They are quite a specimen, those new trucks that Larry just got. Please make sure you stop down and see those. They are freaking awesome.
They're a very nice work tool. They truly are. They're the best. They're the best clearing snow equipment we can buy right now. So, and if I could add just quickly, which our vendors really appreciated, and the pictures I sent them was we took out of service a 1985 and a 1995 dump truck that we replaced. So I'm very proud of that when you can replace a 1985 piece of equipment. So
good news. It's always nice to upgrade, huh?
Always.
All right. Assistant Chief Worley. How you doing tonight?
Good. I think you covered everything pretty much from the fire side. The only other thing that was out there was we are actually looking at a grant for a possible skid unit for our brush truck. So we're hoping to hear something back on that probably in 3 weeks or so, maybe a month. So it'll be a little bit later than the other ones that are out there. Other than that, I have nothing else, but I'm here for questions if anybody has any.
Any questions for Jason? No? Thank you, Jason. Library Supervisor, Ms. Christensen. Good evening.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. We've got a couple things going on in the library. We do have our winter reading program currently happening, and that'll be running until the end of the month, the 28th. Typically our winter reading program is an adult program, and this year we did open it up for all ages. So if anyone's interested, give us a call and we can get some packets out to you via curbside. Other than that, we did finally start construction on our new circulation desk last week. So we're really excited to see that moving forward. Larry and his crew were a huge help during the demo part. So big shout out to them and their help for lifting some heavy desks out of the library. Other than that, I've got an item later on in the agenda talking about a grant, and that's about all I've got for tonight.
Thank you, Katie. Anybody have any questions? All right, Police Chief Manor won't be attending tonight. He had a family emergency, so we'll have to take care of his items on the agenda. But Rec Director, Ms. Nevalainen, good evening.
Good evening, all. Just a short report. Our summer rec applications for the director positions are due February 24th, which is a Wednesday. Just a little information too. We're going to change out a light at the skating rink, and we found out the ballast was bad. So Larry had suggested that we go with new efficient lights, LED lights. And the lights came to, I don't have the total here. Oh, $925.84. And the actual rebate, this is the good part, $1,081. So actually we made a few dollars on that. Of course, we'll have the expense of the electrician, but not only that, we'll have a savings of about $224 a year just on the electricity use. So Larry led us in a great direction, and I appreciate that. So
Great news. Thank you, Larry.
But please don't expect a rebate like that every time, because it's just unheard of. It happens. It truly happens. But the senior center was another good one. I think the senior center paid for itself in less than a year, and it was like thousands of dollars of upgrade. But when you can get the rebate as more than the actual expense, it's pretty rare, but it was really fun to see. So thank you too, Tammy, for working on it. So
yeah, thank you both. And Larry, keep setting that bar higher and higher for yourself. I like it. Anything else, Tammy?
No, that's it for me.
Okay. City Attorney, Mr. Lindsay, good evening.
Thank you. No formal report. I do want to apologize to the council. I know at the last meeting we had a pretty good discussion about that nuisance parking and storage ordinance. My intention was to get it back to the council, and I haven't gotten it back for you this time. I will have it completed this week and off to the city so that we can consider it at our next meeting. Other than that, I'd be happy to field any questions the council has.
Say last minute, I do see an email here from Councillor Fulton. Is there anything that you want to talk about with Brian?
Thank you. That's just if under other business, if anybody had any questions.
Okay. Perfect. City Clerk, Treasurer Administrator, Mr. Manny, Mrs. Eileen Zah.
Council President Lance, members of the council, I do not have a report, but will answer any questions anybody may have.
Any questions for Bill? No? Ms. Zah, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you, President Lance? Council members, nice to see everyone. Just a couple of things. We're having a new telephone system installed, and we should be live 2 weeks today, which means we'll have new phone system in place here at City Hall, at the garage, I believe. Larry, correct me if I'm wrong, and at the police department. So today we met with team members here at City Hall, and we discussed the automated system, the system that answers telephone calls when customers come in. So we're able to really involve all City Hall members in that and those decisions. So it was really nice to have everyone's input. The budget amendment process should be ready to introduce to the council and department heads at our next meeting. I received some very helpful and thorough information from our auditor today, so I'm ready to move on that. Also, most of the painting has been done here at the City Hall in the front lobby in the hallway, and I must say it's really aesthetically pleasant to come here. It's just so positive and bright. It's really wonderful. It just makes the environment so much more happy to be here. And then I just wanted to say that I've received so much support from the staff here at City Hall, from Bill, from Brian Lindsay, and from all other departments. And I just want to say that everyone is really, really extending their knowledge, their experience, and their concern for me and my role as interim. And I just want to say it's just such a great reflection of the people that we have employed here at the city. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Eileen. You're right. We do have wonderful staff and a great support system. So I'm glad to hear that. Anybody have anything for Eileen? No? Okay, let's move on. Consent agenda. List of bills, communications, Parks and Rec, board minutes, planning commission minutes, Chisholm food shelf, minutes of previous city council meetings, January 27th, 2021, payroll and overtime. Entertain a motion to approve that.
I will make the motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Motion, Nicola Raha.
I'll second.
Second by Councilor Alverson. Any discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikola Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
And Mayor Champa is absent.
Unfinished business, there's none. Move on to new business. Not even 6 o'clock, so I'm not sure what we're gonna do with the rest of this night. Too quick. Ms. Galley, let me start with you.
Yes, good evening. The Planning Commission met Monday, February 1st and approved a variance request for Heritage Manor. They're requesting a setback of 18 feet rather than the required 30 feet for an addition to the nursing home. Minnesota Department of Health could not approve their kitchen request. So therefore they needed to extend the building 12 feet longer. And so they needed to request the variance. The Planning Commission approved the request unanimously, and I am just asking your approval.
I have a quick question, Mandy.
Sure.
Were you able to talk? I think this is great. I think this is amazing that they're going to be able to add on to the Heritage Manor facility. Were you and Jim Johnson able to look that over from the street to where they want to add on to? Were you guys able to take a look at that?
Yeah, they did submit a site plan. I should have, Jim, did you get a chance to look over the site plan? I didn't see any issues with it at all.
I have not seen that particular site plan, but I don't think there'll be any issues. Actually, there's a sanitary sewer manhole that's up where that new building is going in, and that sanitary sewer manhole then drained down to a manhole that's down at the intersection, and there was huge problems with that manhole and that line, and they're actually going to be eliminating that and tying their service directly into that manhole that's at the intersection. So it's a good improvement for the city as well.
Yep. And the setback is on all their property. It doesn't really at all affect our right of ways at all. So basically it's a building going 12 more feet into the parking area is a good way to explain it.
Councilor Lance, I'd like to make that motion to give the Heritage Manor variance request of setback of 18 feet for proposed addition.
Motion by Counselor Fountain.
Support by Cheyenne.
Counselor Mickler-Braha, aka Cheyenne. Any other discussion? Margaret, would you please take a vote?
Counselor Helverson,
Aye.
Counselor Mickle-Araha,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Vaki,
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Okay, moving on. Economic Development Coordinator, Ms. Graba.
Good evening. I just wanted to update the council on a grant that was written. The grant was written prior to me starting the position by the consultants that were hired for the economic development. The grant was through the U.S. Economic Development Administration for a mesh wireless network. We did not receive the funds for that grant. So this is just informational at this point.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions?
That's okay. Don't let it get you down. You're doing a great job.
Okay, moving on. Police Chief Manner's not with us tonight. We have a couple of gambling permits, so I'll just take these. Looks like the first one here is for fishing with the vets. Do we need some discussion on this, or pretty much same as last time? So entertain a motion.
Pretty straightforward. I'll make the motion to approve the gambling permit for fishing with vets.
Motion by Counselor Vaki.
Second.
Second by Counselor Halverson. Margaret?
Counselor Helverson,
Aye.
Counselor Mickle-Araha,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Lions Club gambling application. Again, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, Adam, let me hop in here and kind of explain, because then this one goes right alongside with the next one that you're going to see. So right before the meeting, Kelly called me, and the Lions Club is getting licensed to where they can be part of the charitable gambling. So basically what's going to happen is that's going to cut AMVET's presence here in town. And so AMVET's caught wind of that. They went to gyms and they pulled their machines. So because of that, Kelly found the Confidence Learning Center, which is the new one that I'm bringing to your attention on this one. They're going to fill the gap in the gambling until Kelly and the Lions Club are fully licensed and permitted. So what you're approving right now is gambling application for the Lions Club to continue to get their permit and get their license. In the meantime, the next one we approve is going to be the gap in between, because right now they don't have their machines because the AMVET's pulled them. So Confidence Learning Center is going to put machines in until the Lions Club is permitted and licensed. Hopefully that made sense, but that's kind of the way it worked out. I wish Vern was here. He could help me out, but he's not.
Not as straightforward as I thought. But no, that's good. I'm glad they found a different, host for that. Something to keep in mind also, there's different types of, I'm not sure how our city doesn't really get into it, but I know a lot of our cities do have pull tab boxes to support the fire departments or, the different other clubs around here. So, but yeah, no, it's great. The Lions Club makes some money. Good. Thank you, Councilor Vaki. Do we have a motion to support that?
I'll make the motion. Marty.
Marty. Support.
Support by Nicola Raha.
Margaret?
Counselor Helverson,
Aye.
Nicola Raha,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Baki,
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Okay, Confidence Learning Center. Counselor Baki, why don't you take this?
Yeah, so again, just to reiterate, this is the gap fill-in. So once the Lions Club is permitted and licensed, the Confidence Learning Center will remove their stuff, the Lions Club will put their stuff in. That's a Chisholm organization. That's what should be in town, is Chisholm organizations benefiting from the charitable gambling in Chisholm. So I just asked for your approval to allow gyms to do this.
Sounds good to me. We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by April. Looking for a second?
I'll second. Marty?
Second by Marty. Margaret, would you please?
Counselor Helverson,
Aye.
Counselor Nicola Raha,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Baki,
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
All right, moving on. Library Supervisor, Ms. Christensen.
Again, so the library construction grant is a grant that we applied for back in 2018 and received $40,000 for the new re-roof project that we tackled last year. I did get confirmation that I am able to reapply for this grant. So I'm hoping to apply for this grant again this year and receive some funds for some tuck point work that we need done at the library. It's about a $300,000 project. So looking at, just applying for this grant and receiving some funds for that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Katie, I have a question for you.
I'm sorry,
What-
April, what was that?
I have a question, just quick. If we receive this grant, we have to have matching funds for that?
Correct. And so my plan would to be used the $100,000 that council approved for the tuck point. That's already budgeted out this year. So that would be the matching fund, April.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution number 0221-20.
Support.
Margaret, would you please?
Counselor Helverson,
Aye.
Counselor Nicola Raha,
Aye.
Counselor Fulton,
Aye.
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Baki,
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
All right. Mr. Johnson, City Engineer.
Thank you, President and members of the council. At the last council meeting, we had talked about some amendments to the assessment policy. And if you will look on page 30 of your packet, which is page 15 of the assessment policy, you'll see those revisions. I hope I caught all of them. Basically, they're towards the middle of the page under item number 2, assessment rates. Both in the first paragraph and the third paragraph, you'll see that the old rate was $30 per front foot. That has been crossed out and replaced with $90 per front foot. And then down at the table, at the bottom of that page, under item number 6 for mill and overlays, we wanted to up that assessment rate for mill and overlay projects to $10. So what that requires is about revising that percentage of the $90 per front foot from 8% to 11% for front street frontage and from 4 to 5.5% for side street front footage. Those, I think, are the only revisions that are necessary for what we discussed. If there's something else, please let me know, but I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Looks exactly how I remember the conversation heading. So if everyone else agrees, look for a motion to approve resolution 0221-21.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Any other discussion? Oh, Margaret, if you would.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Blocky.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Moving on.
Thank you, Adam. On page 31 is my request for council action. Just one quick correction there. It says attached, please find resolution number 0221, and that should be -22 rather than 21. 21 was the one we just acted on. It is correct on the resolution that follows on page 32. Basically, each year, or let me back up. With our municipal state aid account, we're actually allowed to advance borrow so we can complete projects or build projects sooner rather than later. And we can borrow at a 0% interest rate up to 5 times our annual construction allocation, which usually is something in the neighborhood of about $1.1, $1.2 million total. That's the 5 years allocation. Each year is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 220,000 to 240,000. So we can advance that money. So on page 32, just quickly, this is really just applying for reimbursement of monies that have already been spent and borrowed to us. As you see at the beginning of this year, our balance was a minus 437,000, almost 438,000. Our construction allocation for this year was $215,237. So we really started out with a balance of that $223,000. And then below that, you see the 3 projects that we've done in the past on our 8th Street Northwest project, our 13th Street Northwest infrastructure project, our mill and overlay on 4th Avenue last year. And those are applications for reimbursements that we have made to the state. That you see the amount that they have advanced us is at $1,041,338.57. What this resolution does is just a simple application to MnDOT that if they have the funds available that they can reimburse us yet this year or in the next year or two, rather than just writing it down by our annual construction allocation. I hope that makes sense. It's a yearly thing that we do, but it does allow us to advance fund projects with no interest rate. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Jim. Anybody have any questions? Look for a motion to approve resolution 0221-22.
I'll make that motion. Marty.
Motion by Marty.
Support.
Support by Travis. Margaret.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha. Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Blocky.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Okay, moving on. Mr. Manning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. All right, Mr. Manning, alternate signer.
Yes, sir. Council President Lance, members of the council. With our transitional period between administrators, and everybody's probably aware that I am still authorized by the addendum on my contract to sign documents along with the mayor on behalf of the city. And also my signature appears on the checks. And with the addendum to my contract expiring on March 1st and the fact that we won't have a new administrator in place by March 1st, I'd ask Attorney Lindsay to draft a document that would allow our deputy clerk who serving the day-to-day operations as the interim administrator to be able to sign documents on behalf of the city. So unless there's any questions, I would recommend approval of resolution 0221-23, which will allow Eileen to sign documents as the interim administrator.
I would agree.
Motion.
Counselor by Travis,
Second.
support by April. Any discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Bach.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Hey, Adam. Do
Sure.
you want me to just wait and go after Bill? I think I was supposed to go before him.
Oh, fine. I got so much scribbling on my paper here. Yeah, sorry, Travis.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, Bill, let's just roll through you then with routine bills and expenses next.
Okay, President Lance, this is reaffirmation. This was approved last year by the council when COVID, the restrictions with COVID went into place, and with the transition to Deputy Clerk Zah being interim administrator, and and two new council people that have come on board. It's a reaffirmation of what the council passed last year due to COVID, and how the meetings are held, and just again, so that everybody is aware of the procedure, which would allow Eileen as the interim administrator to pay the routine bills and expenses as she sees fit to make sure that payments are made in a timely manner. With that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you, Bill. No? Any questions? Otherwise, motion.
Motion.
By Travis.
Second, Marty.
Second by Marty. No questions, Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Bill, before we go on, Brian, are we okay with jumping back after Bill back into Travis? I know we're a little too late now, but
Yeah, it should be just fine.
okay. All right. Bill, MAPE Memorandum of Understanding.
Okay, President Lance, council members, with our current negotiated MAPE contract, there is a clause in the MAPE contract that limits the deputy clerk in the absence of the city clerk to be paid $100 per day with a maximum payment of $1,000 per 20-day cycle. And with Deputy Clerk Zah being a member of MAPE and assuming the administrative day-to-day duties, what the addendum or the memorandum of understanding, of the MAPE contract as drafted by Attorney Lindsay, what that does is until a new administrator is brought on board, it basically waives that clause in the MAPE contract that restricts Deputy Clerk Zah from receiving a maximum of $1,000 over a 20-day cycle. With that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions, but would recommend approval of the MAPE Memorandum of Understanding.
So being part of the MAPE contracts, I kind of knew this beforehand as far as what Eileen gets whenever the clerk is gone. If anybody else has any other questions, please ask now.
It's just $100 per day then, period. No cap.
That is correct.
Okay.
There's no telling how long she might be doing this job. And with high responsibility comes higher pay. So I would be looking for a motion and support.
Motion.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, go ahead, Marty. I'll second.
Motion by Marty, second by Travis. Any other discussion? Margaret, please, if you would.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Okay, Bill, you got 4 more things on here, and I swear if I hear President Lance one more time, I just might fall out of my chair. So we can just mellow this down a little bit.
Yes, sir, Council President Lance. We have, I was contacted by Lita Casey of Casey Drug that they were informed that they were one of the local pharmacies chosen to give the COVID vaccination, which I feel is a wonderful thing for our community. She was asked if they could use the senior center, which is currently closed due to COVID, because they need the social distancing, the proper screening, to be able to, after the vaccine, so people can space out, because they have to sit for 15 to 20 minutes to make sure they don't have a reaction. And so when she approached me, I contacted Mayor Champa to let him know. I reached out to Attorney Lindsay because I mentioned to Alita that we needed to have a COVID plan, which she has submitted and which is in front of you on page 43 of your packet. Attorney Lindsay did have a few minor suggestions, and the corrections were made per the recommendation of Attorney Lindsay. So I would recommend approval of the COVID plan for Casey Drug to administer COVID vaccines at the senior center.
All right, thank you, Bill. And yeah, not being in the office every day, 5 days a week, I really appreciate your very prompt response to Alita. So yeah, a great thing for the community and for Casey to be doing. So thank you very much.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by April.
Support by Cheyenne.
By Cheyenne. Any discussion? Margaret, if you would, please.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Walkie.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
All right, Bill, architectural resources contracts.
Hey, Council President Lance, members of the council. The first contract is a contract that is coming back that actually was approved last year. This is for the public safety building for architectural resources to serve as the owner's representative for the public safety building through the process and the construction. Last year, what was approved was an amount not to exceed $110,000. So you can see on page 45, the contract, the amount has come down significantly from $110,000 to $75,000. And that's based on the hourly direct personal expenses. Quite frankly, I'd be surprised if it gets to be that amount. But I would recommend approval of the proposed contract from Architectural Resources to serve on behalf of the city as an owner's representative for our public safety building project, and an amount not to exceed $75,000 based on direct, hourly, and personal expenses.
Yeah, I think that's a very good thing. I think having that resource for us here, that extra knowledge in the background helping the city is very advantageous to us. Anybody else have any discussion, questions, motion?
President Lance?
Yes, Councilor Alverson.
my understanding is that Five Bugles is the architect for the project. Were they approached to be our representative during construction since they were the architect designing the building? And why are we using ARI?
President Lance, I can answer that question. Councilor Halverson, the amount of money from Five Bugles Wendell's to be the construction manager would be definitely a higher dollar amount due to travel and their location where the people would have to travel from. Architectural Resources is local and have the people that are experienced. They'd be able to be here on a day in, day out as needed basis, whereas I think it would be a little more challenging for Five Bugles Wendell when the main people that are working on the project that have come up for the meetings are coming from Eau Claire. And so that is the reason for the proposed contract with Architectural Resources versus Five Bugles Wendell.
Can't hear you, Marty.
This is for the construction phase of the project?
It's for their total involvement with the project.
And so it's meetings now, that's going through the planning stages, through the construction, I believe, right?
That would be correct.
President
Okay,
Lance.
Deshaun?
Okay, I'm not very familiar with construction projects. It's certainly not my area of strength. So I'm just looking for an explain it like I'm five. What role are they playing? Like, can someone break it down for me? Like, what are they doing?
I'd be happy to do my best to explain what an owner's rep does. Being that we as a city, and this is really nothing against the professional people that we have, but we don't have the architectural, engineering type people that for this type of work. And so in the public sector, a lot of times you will see that there are people that are hired to make sure if the architectural drawings say that there should be 2x6s used, that the contractors aren't putting in 2x4s. Plus, they also, on a big building project like this, you normally have a general contractor and some subcontractors. And a lot of times the owner's rep will work with the general contractor to make sure that items are being done in a timely manner, that the subs are being coordinated so that there isn't a lapse in construction, so that construction progresses it moves along the way it should, because sometimes you get in these projects and if somebody gets behind, you have contractors that are waiting for other contractors to complete their work because things have to be built in a chronological order. Plus, they look for efficiencies. They look for a way to save us money. So if there's one or two things that our owners rep find that they, as this project moves forward, hopefully it will more than pay for itself in efficiencies and suggestions and recommendations to the project.
It's basically it's but they have the knowledge to make sure that everything is done right and nobody's cutting corners. Obviously we have our building official on site who can come through and make sure everything's up to code. But then again, kind of just like Bill had said, you're making sure that there's not frivolous change orders. You're making sure that, if they quoted you, they're going to use this type of material. That's what's being used. They're not bringing in some cheap steel and they should be using bronze or stupid example, but basically along those lines. I think he's already helped us out, with his first week on duty. I believe even when we have our road construction jobs, we still have an overseer that, babysits the contractors and work as it progresses. So I would be looking for a motion to approve the owner's rep of the ARI.
I've been in favor of this since day one. I'm not a Five Bugles fan, and I probably will never be. So I'm happy hiring a babysitter to watch over them. So I will make the motion.
And we're going to leave babysitter out of the motion, I hope.
Second.
That analogy. Second by Councillor Fulton. Any other discussion? If not, Cheyenne, what are you thinking?
I'm just, like I said, this is not my area of strength, and so I'm just trying to really make sure that I understand what their role is. Is this something that they're currently doing, or is this a new?
Yes, they're currently doing it. I believe right from the layout of the previous building, I think they had a say in, moving it over 10 feet and saving a bunch of money instead of, digging up a bunch of groundwork. But again, these are the professionals that are local here to make sure that we're getting what we're actually paying for. And I kind of, I'll echo what Travis had said. I was a little bit skeptical of the previous, I've been to all the meetings. I am a Five Bugles, proponent now. I'm a supporter. I think they're going to do great for us, but it's great because they're not keeping track of Five Bugles. They're keeping track of the contractors that are coming to do the job of the work.
And President Lance, if I may, Councillor Halverson was correct. Normally in a project, the architect will serve as a construction manager, but in this case, it just makes sense for a whole lot of reasons, being that we have somebody local that can literally be there in minutes if there's questions, if the contractors have questions or concerns. So this isn't, normally, like Councillor Halverson said, the architect would normally do this work and it would be in their price tag, but we are looking to go a different route, and quite frankly, Five Bugles Wendell is not opposed to this. My understanding is they've actually asked Architectural Resources to actually help them with a couple of things, again, based on their proximity and the people that they have on staff that are qualified to do this work.
Adam, this is Jim. If I might add to Bill's comments and your comments, please.
Sure, absolutely.
I think the previous city council, and I'm thinking, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been a year ago or something like that, the council made the decision that they wanted to go with a general contractor, and it was at that point that we had quite a bit of discussion, and I was worried about if we just bid it out to a general contractor, they're looking out for their own pocketbook. So we thought this was a good alternative, and it was a time to bring on ARI because Scott Chisholm has experience in these types of projects, a great deal of experience, and we needed him to be really the city's consultant in terms of advising the city on different options, things to be looking for, options to consider. Five Bugles has done a good job. We wanted to bring Scott Chisholm, ARI, on such that they were involved in this whole discussion of the design process with the idea that they would then become our full-time inspector on the job. Mandy has capabilities but doesn't have the time to be out there on a full-time basis with all their other responsibilities. So we wanted this person to have knowledge of what went into those preparation of those plans and specs, what decisions were made, why they were made, such that once it does get under construction, that person is familiar with those decisions, those discussions, so there aren't delays. So when I served on the State Designer Selection Board, this was a method that we very strongly recommended of getting local architectural firms on board with a project that was outstate when the bigger firms in the metro area had the experience and were getting the contracts. But this was giving the small town architect some experience, something to put their resume on. But just as Bill said, they're there on the job, making sure that the project is being done according to the plans and specs, making sure that stuff is being, that the schedule is being made, what the plans and specs are, and representing the city in any change orders or any modifications that need to be made. So it's really just part of the continuing process that the previous council made here within the last year or two. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. So we do have a motion to keep ARI as the City of Chisholm's owner representative for the proposed city service building, not to exceed $75,000. We have support. Any other discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicola Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Okay, Bill, miscellaneous work needed for the city, not to exceed $10,000.
Yep. Council President, Lance, members of the councils, I offer my sincere apologies for this. You notice the date on there is 2020. This is a housekeeping item as I'm wrapping up, trying to get loose ends tied up. Last year with COVID, CARES Act funding, things were just happening by the minute, and so there was some work that needed to be done. The work being done at City Hall to when the City Hall opens to protect the public and our employees from COVID or any other viruses and the like, and the same type of work at the library that had to be designed. So we reached out to Architectural Resources to design that work, and then they also helped out the Recreation Department with some design work on the skating shack. So this ties up a loose end that takes care of a couple bills from 2020. Basically with the items on the CARES Act funding with City Hall and the library and the skating shack. With that, I would recommend approval, but would be happy to answer any questions.
I have a question. How is it that it got so messed up at the City Hall? Wasn't ARI supposed to help direct that project, and now we're finding out there's all sorts of problems with it, and they're saying that the contractor did it wrong, but I guess I'm hearing that they never gave the contractor really any direction. So pretty disappointed in the fact that thing's gotten gummed up so badly, and that their ARI is coming in after the fact saying, well, they did it wrong. Well, I'm hearing that they were never told what to do exactly. So I'm really not happy with their performance at the City Hall. So please take that into account, and I don't know what we can do to resolve that situation. Thank you.
Councilor Halverson, I will be following up with Architectural Resources. I see that Architectural Resources put out a punch list, and I guess my question is the drawings and the specifications that were out there. What was followed and what wasn't followed. My understanding is the contractor is working to make the adjustments to that work. And I will be following up with the contractor and working through acting day-to-day administrator Zaw with some questions that I also have on that project. And I know that building official Galley is also involved, and I believe that Public Works Supervisor Fulstead is also involved. So I will be following up with the people to figure out what has transpired here.
If I could just add a couple of things on that. We have given Dave Rapucci a spec list of what he has to do. I never received a spec book before the project started. There was really only like conceptual drawings. I don't know if there was a spec book of actual materials that were to be used on that, but I never did see one. I'm not sure there. I just saw the conceptual drawings. There's a difference of opinion on what really is a commercial grade of spec on the work that was done. So it's tough. We are working to remedy it, and I think we will have a product that everybody will be happy with at the end. But we are requesting him to come back to do different items, and there is a punch list out there if anyone is interested in seeing it.
Thank you. And yeah, I do, kind of agree, but I don't have the proper information to make a comment as to what is happening up there, or what, has transpired, or who was given what. I think with some more information, we can address this better. But for now, I would be looking for a motion for ARI, miscellaneous work as needed by the city, not to exceed $10,000.
President Lance, a quick question here. Councillor Halverson, what are you thinking? When you say take into consideration, are you thinking like table this until we get more information, or are you thinking approve and just keep us in the loop, or?
Well, the City Hall project, we've already had one issue, and now it sounds like there's going to be a whole bunch more issues that they could have been avoided with a properly executed project. It sounds like there was, I think we need to get a copy of all the information that ARI provided, and then all the information that was provided to the city and to our contractor, and because we already had some extra work, and it sounds like there's going to be more extra work, and things are going to have to be changed and replaced. I'm kind of struggling with why are we approving a 2020 contract now? Was it just an oversight, or they did the work without authorization? I'm a little concerned that we're coming in after the fact and approving last year's contract when this should have been approved a year ago. So yeah, and I don't know, I'm kind of disappointed in this. So until I get more information, I can't support this, and I won't support it.
Bill, do you have any more information?
President Lance and Councillor Halverson and the other members of the council, I know the people that on the city staff have a number of times heard me mention that I'd rather do things right than do things quick. And this is one of those things that fell, I'll just say, out of my comfort zone with the attempt to get, when we received the CARES Act funding, we had limited time. That money had to be spent by November 15th. And I struggle a bit with that because you talk to, for instance, the airport, they got 4 years to spend their CARES Act money, and we had a short period of time. And because of the work being done, basically because of COVID, and to try to get as much of that as we could paid, this had to move along quicker than I know I feel comfortable with, and with the goal of at least getting the plans, specifications in place so that contractors could go out and buy the materials so that we could get the CARES Act money spent in a timely manner. So, I mean, that's part of the issue. I guess I'm probably as much to blame as anybody, but that's part of the reason behind it, is that this had to happen relatively quick so that the money could be paid the contractors so they could buy the materials for the job, so that we could use the CARES Act funding rather than spend the city's funding for the materials.
No, without more information, I would find it hard to believe that a contractor would be putting up walls and, running a project without having a proper guide to follow. So, to blame this on the ARI or to put it on, the contractor, I think there's definitely a lapse in communication. Not having a city clerk, up there every day is obviously hinders some things. But if this is work that's been done, and it kind of feels like they're going to see the project through.
I think they'll see the project through. There's enough professionals up there, so I'm going to make a motion to for miscellaneous architectural services for 2020, not to exceed $10,000, and also work on the skating shack and city hall and library, with oversee of supervisors.
Okay, motion by Councillor Fulton. Is there support?
Second for discussion, if you don't mind, Council President. Bill, I'm a little confused and I need your help here. So what did we pay and not pay prior to today? If we had to spend that money by November 15th, did we prepay them, or were we allowed to put the money toward them and then pay them when they're done, just so it was identified that that's what was being spent? I'm a little confused here.
Councilor Vaki, what we did pay is that, because the work was not done, of course, by the November 15th date. But with the drawings, the conceptual drawings that were referred to by building official Mandy Galley that she saw, the conceptual drawings allowed the contractor to go out and buy the materials for the job. So that's what was basically paid before November 15th. And then since then, I believe that there was another payment that when the project was 75% completed, that another payment was made. So that's what was paid to date, is my understanding.
President Lance.
Yes, Councilor McCluraha. I
would feel most comfortable if we considered tabling this until we had some more information. I feel like this came up kind of short notice with some information that was provided to us on Friday. It still seems like there's some confusion about some pieces that might have been missing, and I would be most comfortable if we had a little bit more time to get more information.
Okay. Well, Councilor Fulton, you're the one that made the motion.
Excuse me. I still feel like we can still get that information. And Bill said that it's not completely paid. We still can get the specs. We still can get the information. The construction is going to take place no matter what. We have to get it done. Mandy can oversee. Eileen can oversee. We've got all these supervisors and things that can oversee and making sure Architectural Resources does their job. So I will continue with my motion
Okay. I agree. We had a second. Is there any other discussion?
Can I just comment? I just want to make one comment that Mr. Rapucci was at City Hall today and he did start his corrective orders. So that has started today.
Okay. And it looks like, some of this was the planning that ARI had already done. So in my opinion, if it's work they've already done for the city, they should be paid.
Yeah, I agree with you, but where's this 10,000 coming from? Is it now coming out of our pocket because it's after November 15th? That's where I'm confused.
Bill?
I have a question, Eileen. There were so many things that went into that CARES Act funding. Was any of the architectural resources paid, under the CARES Act?
I'm taking a look. I'm taking a look now. So give me just a moment and I'll pull up that spreadsheet.
President Lance, may I, while she's looking for that?
Absolutely, Councilor McLeod.
I also agree. I absolutely believe that people should be paid for their time and the services that they've provided. My confusion here is I guess I'm just trying to figure out where exactly the ball was dropped essentially and what that plan is going forward. If ARI was responsible for the oversight of this, where were they when all of these mistakes were being made throughout the construction process and they were just caught last week? That's my confusion.
No, I don't think, Bill, maybe you can correct me. Were they seeing this project through, or we just hired them to kind of come up with the design? And then also maybe asking is you're going to look for someone to sit around and point fingers, who was where and who dropped the ball here. I think it comes down to the lack of, we didn't hire an administrator. We don't have a leader. We don't have someone up there steering the ship. So, we're going to find some of these jerks that are going to be, not people are jerks, this jerking motions that's going to be a hiccups inside the city. These are going to happen.
President Lance, if I may, if there's anybody that this needs to fall on, it's me. I'll take the full blame. Architectural resources, as building official Galley mentioned, did a conceptual drawing. It was fairly straightforward as far as the conceptual part of it was, which was to secure where our cashiers sit with doors, windows, and the like. Where, like they say, the devil's always in the detail, and I think the majority of the issues have to do with the finishing work. It's the minor, the finishing work. There isn't the major, the conceptual part of it with securing the area, the doors, the windows, and what was put in. That is all there. It's more in the detailed work, some of the finishing in that part of it. And in fairness to Mr. Rapucci and Architectural Resources, there were some things that I was involved with the city's staff that will be working in the secure area, that there were a couple of minor things that we talked to the contractor about changing, because from the people that are actually going to be doing the work out of that area, there were a couple of things that weren't going to work real well for them. So we asked the contractor if we could change this or remove that. And we talked to Architectural Resources, and it didn't really change the functionality of what we were attempting to do. So, if there's anybody to point the finger at, it's me. And it's one of those things that just was a challenge and time issue. And I sincerely apologize. I will work with Architectural Resources. I'll work with Mr. Rapucci. I'll work with the current interim administrator to make sure that the items get done the way they need to get done.
And if I could just say something, thank you, Bill, but I really don't think that it falls all on you either. I really do think in this situation, it was an idea of materials that were used were different between the contractor that bid the job and the architect that made the conceptual drawings. I truly just feel that way. It was a different idea of materials that were used.
President Lance?
Yes.
I mean, that's the architect's job, is to provide those services, and they did not provide them in this case.
So I have the data. This is Eileen. Bill, I just wanted to say I appreciate what you said, but I also have to take some responsibility because I could have asked questions. You know, all these things were happening around me, and I just made assumptions that either you or other people are involved in overseeing it. So I have to take some responsibility for that since I'm here for daily operations. So we did your question about architectural resources. We did pay them for COVID renovations at the library and City Hall, $7,882.50.
President Lance.
Yes.
So I guess my only other pieces are, so City Hall in this situation was the only piece that kind of had some hiccups. The library project and the skating shack project went according to plan essentially. And as I'm understanding it, there is a plan moving forward to make sure that it goes according to design.
Yes. And, so I think our contractor probably has to take some blame too. If the other job projects went without a hitch, so there's obviously a communication barrier, lack of questioning. I heard one example that maybe a mouth hole on a plexiglass didn't line up with the other hole where you slide paperwork underneath. It's just kind of a lapse in judgment. I would support this.
It's not my problem is not that I don't support this, because I do, and I think ARA should be paid for the services that they provided. But my question is not being answered here. We paid them $7,000 and some dollars, and now we're paying them an additional $10,000. But was that all budgeted with COVID money, or are we paying it out of our general fund?
Councilor Vaki, this contract, what my intent to do is to tie up a loose end. That $7,000 that they were paid was part of the $10,000.
Very good. That's all I needed to know. Thank you for clearing that up.
Thank you, Bill.
So really, we're paying them $2,000 and some odd dollars to get to $10,000.
If that's the remaining balance on the bill, again, it's a time and material. It's basically a time and hourly rate. Again,
Jim, I think the way Bill is explaining that, I think it's a maximum cost not to exceed without some amendment to that. So I think, I think that $10,000 is a maximum cost not to exceed.
Hey, Jim, that's correct.
That is correct.
All right. So a dead horse around here somewhere. Margaret.
Counselor Halverson.
No.
Counselor Mikola Raha.
Yes.
Counselor Fountain.
Yes. Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
No.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Wait, Counselor Vaki, did you support me in that motion that I made?
He seconded for discussion.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, Bill. Final item. You're muted, sir.
I'm sorry, thank you. I'm sorry, thank you very much. What this is, from time to time, as with the skating shack, items come up, and it is nice for the administrator to be able to reach out to a architectural firm if there are smaller projects. So this is the same contract that we just talked about. It's for 2021 with a not to exceed $10,000 for any work that may come up that need design work to come and possibly look at something with a building or a location that we may have a question on. It's basically a catch-all contract for professional services for 2021.
Okay. So if we use them, we pay them. If we don't use them, we don't pay them.
That is correct.
I would look for a motion. I would support this, and I would just ask that our staff utilize the tools that we're going to give you. Make sure if we're going to have them on retainer that we use them when we can. If we have questions, if we have concerns, make sure we get them over here and hold them accountable and give us the answers that we look for. I'd be looking for a motion and support to approve ARI. Miscellaneous work is needed for the city not to exceed $10,000 for the fiscal year of January 2021. Excuse me, the year of 2021.
I really hate to be a Debbie Downer like this. This is not how I usually operate, but I question this because we just approved paying them, and now we're approving paying them again to clean up a mess that was made in the first place. And so I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one.
Well,
I understand it. I totally understand it. I get the logic behind it. There's probably going to be questions and that are called upon, but at what point do we say, the ball was dropped here somewhere, and why do we always have to pay out of pocket to fix something that we maybe shouldn't have to fix? But again, I don't know.
This goes a little further than the projects that are at hand right now. This is for future. Like I said, we don't use them, we don't pay them. Yes.
So am I understanding correctly that essentially this one is being put in place to avoid a situation that we just discussed?
That would be correct.
President Lance?
Yes, Councillor Halverson.
I agree with Councillor Vaki. I don't know. They dropped the ball in the City Hall project, and if that's the kind of service we're going to get from them, I can't support them. And why aren't we getting competitive proposals from other architects that might be more interested in doing a good job for the City of Chisholm? Thank you.
Sure. No, you might have more information than I have. Like I said, I'm not sure who dropped the ball at City Hall. I haven't been up there. I'm not going to start pointing fingers. But, we're hiring a professional service, so we don't technically need bids. If we want to go around and see if there's any architectural, companies around here that want to go on a retainer, for not to exceed $10,000 in a year. But they're here. They're working with us with our public safety building. They're going to finish up with the library, the skating shack, and they're going to help clean up whatever it was that happened at City Hall. I'm not convinced that they're the ones solely responsible because I don't have the information at hand. But I would definitely, if you would not, I can't control that. But I would recommend a motion and support.
So, Bill, are we gonna provide anything to Rapucci? Or does he only have a punch list to come back and use extra amount of time to fix everything. Because I feel like neither one is to blame fully, but if we're gonna fund one, you know, I don't know that it's necessarily fair to just assume that Mr. Rapucci is fully to blame and we're not gonna compensate him at all.
Councilor Waukee, without having a conversation with Architectural Resources and with Mr. Rapucci, I don't know to the extent of items that Mr. Rapucci will need to do, what his cost of the repair will be. I can't answer that. I don't know the answer to that.
I think maybe we should consider tabling this one. I don't think it would cause harm to do that. And Bill, maybe you could have that meeting with the two parties and find out costs for each one. I just don't think I can support paying one way to clean up and not the other way. But that's just me.
No, that's fine. And last council meeting, I know we approved a change order for Mr. Rapucci. Covered all his expenses. If we want to table this, no harm. But again, it's up to you.
President Lance, I'd make a motion to table this item.
Motion to table this item to the next council meeting, February 24th. Second by Councilor Felton. Is that correct? All right. Margaret?
Councilor Halverson.
Aye.
Councilor Mikuláraha.
Aye.
Councilor Fountain.
Aye.
Lance.
Aye.
Councilor Waukee.
Aye.
Mayor Ciampa is absent.
All right, moving on. Resolution number 0221-25, extend local emergency. The majority of us are pretty well versed with this by now.
You skipped me again.
Oh, Jesus. Councilor Bakke, I am so sorry. I was going to put you at the last. The last goes best. All right, Councilor Bakke, sorry. Please,
all right.
take the floor.
Okay, so I'll go as quick as I can. So, Margaret emailed out the COVID plan for Sled to City. In a nutshell, it's CDC guidelines, masks are required. The way we're setting up the slide is where it was last year. If you attended it last year, we're going to have line up on the sidewalk instead of in the middle of the road to prevent congregating, where on the sidewalk we can mark off social distance to be in to do it correctly. On the flip side, we're going to add what we're going to call a bunny hill. And so we're going to put some snow on the other side of the street as well for smaller kids to go down or families to be with their smaller kid. And that will allow for lining up on both sides of the street, which then prevents congregating in the middle. Last year we had a bonfire by the skating shack. This year, we are going to do the same thing, but Larry is going to have more than one. So we're going to have like 3 pods for smaller bonfires, which again allows people to spread out, prevents congregating. Katie and the library staff are going to do cocoa and cookies. My understanding is the cookies will just be on the table individually wrapped so people can grab those. The Community Foundation is also sponsoring chili feed that day. There will be a couple people just there to hand out tickets if people want to buy them, but all of that is being handled at Valentini's, not on site for the location. So with that being said, Brian did get a chance to look at it. I believe, I won't speak for him, but I don't think he had any issues with it because the CDC guidelines are being followed. And I don't know if you can see this very well, but I did get the poster finalized, so that'll come out tomorrow, and I'll send that to everybody as well. So Brian, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that, but That's it in a nutshell.
I have taken a look at it, and it is sufficient. I assume that there's going to be some signage up encouraging people to follow the guidelines and to remain socially distanced, and allowing them some direction to the guidance if they need it. So other than that, it's a legally acceptable plan.
Excellent. Great work. Councillor Baki, again, great work. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful event last year. There's no doubt in my mind it will be a wonderful event this year. I'm gone that weekend, so I don't suppose you could move it to a different one. No? Okay.
Maybe we could arrange a separate time for you and your family, though.
Yeah, just have Larry leave a little hill out there on the side so I can come back.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. The citizens are very lucky to have your hard work here. You know, it's wonderful. Appreciate it. And I'm sorry once again for skipping you. I'll buy you a hot cocoa.
Yeah. No worries.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve the COVID plan for Sled City.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Cheyenne. Second.
Support, Marty.
Support by Marty. Now, discussion here. Brian, I know we don't have Councillor Varda here anymore to push to make this a citywide event, but you know he would definitely be pushing to make this a citywide event. Is that something that we can do right now, or is this something that should have been put on the agenda? And if so, we do have another council meeting on the 24th. So if
I think the best practice would be to try and include it on the council agenda for the 24th before the event occurs.
Okay. No other discussion? Margaret, would you please?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikula-Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
All right. Now on to the extension of the local emergency, resolution 0221-25. If anyone has any questions what this is, basically we're just extending our local emergency to make sure that we get any COVID relief funds that are available and follow the governor's guidelines set forth. So if there's no questions, I would gladly entertain a motion and support.
I'll make the motion.
So my Councillor Baki.
Support by Cheyenne.
Support Councillor Mikula-Raha. Margaret, would you please take a roll call?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikula-Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
All right, so yeah, make sure that was noted to extend it to the 24th, please. Sorry about that. All right, last item, appoint to police commission. You see we have two applicants on here. I was definitely in favor of James Boucad on the last appointment. A former police officer in town, spent many years, local resident, very excited to try to get back into the realm of helping the community and serving. That would be my recommendation. But other than that, it's up to you guys for motion and support.
I'll feel everyone else out before a motion's made, but I would also support Mr. Boucad.
Well, I think both of these people these applications are very well written, and it's very hard to determine who would do well. I think both of them would do very well.
I agree, and it's always great to have people competing for one spot. We have a lot of good participation in our city and from our citizens. Would somebody like to make a motion to appoint one of them?
President Lance.
Yeah.
I would make a motion to appoint Brian Perpich to the police commission.
Motion and support.
Second, Marty.
Second by Councilor Harbison. Any discussion?
President Lance, I would like to thank both of them for their interest. I don't have much experience with either of them. I do know that Brian is currently serving on that and has been, so.
Okay. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
Miscellaneous. April, did you want to talk on your miscellaneous or no? No. For discussion? No?
I'm sorry, my husband just got home, so the dogs are barking and.
Okay.
Oh, did everybody get a chance to look at their email?
Yes, I got a chance to read it. I talked to Attorney Lindsay. I think it kind of fell in line with, what we had earlier in the season. Supporting something on the federal level, tying your title to it. I have no issue with it. Again, I wouldn't do it for any of it. That's just my opinion. I would not hold it against anybody who did. I think you are an elected official, and that is a title that you carry with you. So that would just be my opinion from your email. But if there's no other conversation.
So this is the Ask Me letter, I'm assuming. Because I got the same one. And I did call Brian on it. I'm with Adam. I don't really support speaking, signing something as council member unless it's approved by the council. So not that I don't support that, but I am going to get a hold of Tom and see if I can sign that just as an individual and remove council member from any, because that I won't sign it otherwise.
Yeah, and like Brian said earlier, it's very, you got to make sure what you read is all very spelled out. It's a fine line sometimes. I think everyone here has the best intentions with what they're doing, so I would never hold it against you, but I agree with you, Travis. Anybody else? If not, I would entertain a motion to recess to a closed session to discuss LEL's contract negotiations and administrative assistance contract negotiations.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilor Halverson.
Support.
Support Councilor Vaki. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Lance.
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
All right, it is 7:15. Everyone who does not come back, blame you. It's a record night. Thank you very much for your participation and joining us tonight.
Council President Lance, to make question for Steve with Public Access TV. Steve, you know that we recess and then come back live, correct? Steve, are you there? Steve, are you there? Are you listening? Eileen, you're going to need to put him out in the waiting room.
So the else doing? Everyone's furnace running?
I'm so sick of being cold. I think of Jim every single time it is miserably cold out because he is probably enjoying this and I'm genuinely miserable.
There's only like 37 days till spring.
Dreamt about camping last night.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was in Thief River Falls last weekend for training, and we were up in Middle River, and we sat down with the fire department there, and about half of them were up all night thawing out pipes with hair dryers. And on Sunday when I left, I was trying to get a burger somewhere in Thief River, and almost every place was closed down with frozen pipes and frozen sewers, and it was terrible. So I'm glad we live where we live, and we have trees to block some of that wind.
President Lance, we're back online.
Excellent, thank you. So we are reconvening the regular council meeting, February 10th. We recessed to a closed session to discuss the LELS contracts and the confidential secretaries, the administrative assistants contract negotiations. And so now back on here to number 1, ratify the LELS contract. I would entertain a motion and support.
I'll make the motion.
Motion, Councillor Halverson.
Support by Mikala Raha.
Support, Councillor Mikala. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Mrs. Gornick, would you please?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikala Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Lance.
Aye.
Walkie.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
All right, ratify administrative assistance contracts. Miss Andrea and Miss Gornick's contracts. I would entertain a motion and support.
I'll make that motion.
Motion, Councillor Fountain.
Support.
Support, Councillor Baki. Margaret, if you would.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Mikala Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Walkie.
Aye.
Mayor Champa is absent.
I would definitely like to thank the committees that got this done and our staff members for making it easy to approve these contracts. So thank you all very much. Is there anything else anybody would like to bring up?
President Lance.
Yes.
I just have one quick question. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm that person tonight. Those administrative assistant contracts, those can both be approved with one motion. They didn't need to be separate.
Best practice, Brian? Should go back and redo one and one?
Best practice would be to separate them, but if we've combined them into one, so long as it was a unanimous vote, I think we're okay. As a technical matter, it would withstand scrutiny.
Perfect. If anyone wants to do them one by one, we can go back. If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion because I got to go to work.
Motion, Councillor Fountain.
Support.
Support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
You did a great job, Adam.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Good night. Good job.
Good night, everybody.